I'm going to share you. It would not be an exaggeration for me to say that after an extended water fast, that breaking the fast, how you break the fast and return to solid food, is even more important than the fast itself. And done incorrectly, you can do irreparable harm. And if you stay with me till the end of this video, I'll share with you the sorts of meals you should be eating when you actually start and resume eating solid food. Now, let's start from the beginning. The purpose of all of this is to live a natural life in an unnatural world. And one of the ways that I do that is to incorporate sweat, sunlight, water, earth, air, and time into my lifestyle. And fasting is incorporating the element of time into your natural living. And the time that you're taking is giving the body time to heal itself by stopping the digestive process, putting a hold on it for a while, and allowing the body to divert its energies to healing and rejuvenation. And fasting is nature's first cure. Remember, we said that nature is perfect. Nature is also foolproof, meaning that you don't need a degree to understand or how to follow natural law. It is foolproof. Anyone can do it, anyone on any level, any continent, any background, any culture. All you have to do is stop eating. The majority of illness is caused either by something that's in the body that shouldn't be there, or something that's outside of the body that should be there. And the main way that the elements get inside the body that shouldn't be there is eating. So if eating is the cause of your illness, then the logical cure is to stop eating. And fortunately, the body is able to cleanse itself if you give it the time to do so. So that's what fasting is about. Over the years, I've done over 24 fasts, and the longest I've done up until this point has been 17 days. This last one was 25 days without solid food. And I did the first 21 days with no food, and then I actually broke it momentarily with some orange juice. For a 24-hour period, I had a total of 4 glasses of fresh squeezed orange juice, and that I could feel stopped the fasting process. I got a boost of energy and continued an extra 4 days before I actually had solid food. And those extra 4 days were done back on the water fast. So in total, I did 25 days without food. The actual fast itself was 21 days. So I'll figure out exactly how I'll present that in the future. But those of you who are watching now know that it's 21 days water only, with a break at the 21-day point, and then 4 more days until solid food. Now, with that said, the most important thing about breaking the fast is the transition period. And the simple rule that I follow is this: 1 day of transition for every 5 days of fasting. So to put it simply, if you fast for 5 days, no food and just water for 5 days, then you should allow at least 1 day of transition, 1 day of only liquids, and I'll get into more detail in a second, before you actually start eating solid food. Second example, if you fast for 10 days, or I would say anything up between 5 and 10 days, I would use the 10-day rule or 10-day calculation. So if you fast for 10 days, then you divide by 5, so your transition should be 2 days. And again, we'll go another level for those who are not good at math. If you fast for 15 days, then you divide by 5 and you get 3, so your transition should be 3 days. And similarly, if you fast for 20 days, as I did, then you would divide by 5 and you get 4, and your transition period, the amount of time that you should transition before you even attempt to eat something solid, and it should be something simple like a salad, but that transition period should be 4 days at least. I actually go a little bit more. I like to act in the interest of caution. So even if I've calculated 4 days for transition, I'll probably do 5 days if I can. All right, so what I'm going to show you is a chart that puts that a little bit simply. And the first one we're going to look at is the 5-day. Now you have basically all the information you need, but this just puts it in a little visual form, has a lot of information there, but it's really quite simple. Now what we're looking at is how should I transition back to solid food after fasting for 5 days. In the upper right hand corner you'll see that I have the number 5 here. Now this is what's important. There are 4 stages that you'll need to accomplish in order to return to solid food. And those stages are to restart, then restore, then remineralize, and then you resume. And that's a slow resumption. That's like a soft, I'd call it a soft launch or a soft relaunch. So in the restart process, what you're doing here is just jump-starting the body's digestive system. And you do that by drinking orange juice that has citric acid. Some people suggest soup, let's say tomato soup, peel the skin, boil the tomatoes, and then strain it and drink and you'll be consuming the citric acid in the tomato soup. But that first stage is the restart process. The second is what I call the restore process, and what you're restoring, or the restore phase, and what you're restoring there are the good bacteria. So so you might take probiotics, or you might do kimchi, or you might do sauerkraut, or you might do cultured vegetables, but a small amount. And you're not going to overdo it if you have to do kimchi, because again, you're not really back on solid food. There are certain liquid probiotics you could drink as well, in addition to the orange juice that you'll continue, or the tomato soup that you'll continue. So in the second phase, you're restoring the digestive, the good bacteria that's necessary for digestion. In the third phase, you're going to remineralize. And again, you're going to continue liquids only. So at this stage, I would suggest soups, for example. You can make broth. You can make the Hippocrates soup according to the Gerson therapy. And I'll include a link in the description. And you can drink that during the third phase. So the remineralize. And the benefit of the congee, or the broth, is that it has a lot of minerals in it, and you could also supplement it with a Sun Warrior or Trace Minerals supplement, and you'll be giving the body minerals that it needs to grow and function. And before you start the next phase, so the next phase is resume, and at that point you're going to be resuming some semblance of solid food by possibly a salad, right? More broth as well. You're still going to be doing broth. You can still do orange juice. Make sure you're drinking water as well. But you can start with a very simple salad at that point, or stewed spinach is another good one. And you're going to do what I call a soft launch. It's not a full launch. You're just going to test waters. Now, a couple of reasons you want to do this. One is if you followed the guidelines, then your body at this point should have been calling for food. And that's why I broke my fast at day 21. I felt as if my body was calling for food at that point. And if you read Fast and Grow Young and check out Herbert Shelton's suggestions as to when to break the fast, he said the primary consideration is the return of hunger, not necessarily the foul breath leaving or your tongue getting pink, as some people suggest, but when your body naturally calls to resume eating, when you actually feel hunger. And for some people, they say they feel hunger in their mouth, in their throat, in their. I believe I feel mine in my stomach. So once I started to feel that really gnawing feeling in my stomach, that's when I realized that my body was indeed calling for hunger, and that's why I broke it with the orange juice. So you're going to be listening, if you will, to your body to find out how it responds to at first initial soft launch stewed spinach or a simple salad, because if your body is not ready to resume the fast, then it might reject that food, and you might actually feel a little nauseous. Your body may have other symptoms that indicate that your body is still in fast mode, and it is not ready for you to break the fast as well. So you want to do this slowly. The other reason you want to do this slowly is so that you don't reverse any of the benefits that you've achieved. You want to maintain the gains, as I say. So you want to transition into this slowly. Now, I've gone through many fasts, as I've said, and I realize that this is the hardest part of breaking the fast. Is a lot of times once you resume eating in any way, shape, or form, even if it's just orange juice, you might get so excited that you want to rush through the stages and find yourself going through the restore and remineralize and resume really quickly, all in a day. So it's going to be a test of your discipline, okay, from my experience. Now, you have the discipline to have gone through these days of fasting, so you do have the discipline. You just have to tap into it a little deeper so that you don't give in. So in this first diagram, what I'm showing here is that if you have computed that you only need 1 day of fasting, then you can go through the 4 stages of the transition: restart, restore, remineralize, and resume, all in that 1 day. So first part of the day, you can start with some orange juice. A few hours later, you can go to the restore, and then a few hours after that, you can remineralize and resume. Now, my suggestion is don't rush it. If you've computed that you only need 1 day of transition, go ahead and make it 2 days and split up those stages so you don't rush it. You don't lose anything. Yes, it requires a little more discipline, but you'll be doing your body a favor and not rushing through this. Now, if we look at the next possibility, let's say you fast for anywhere from 5 days up to 10 days. So we're going to use the 10-day reboot transition calculator. And in that case, our fast is 10 days. We divide by 5, we get 2 days of transition. So that means you can spread your transition over the course of 2 days. So you can do restart and restore on the first day and remineralize and resume on day 2. If we look at chart 3, for a 15-day fast, and again, anything from 10 to 15, so 11, 12, 13, 14, I would use the 15-day transition calculator. And that means, as you see in the diagram, that you can split up the restart, restore, remineralize, and resume over the course of those 3 days. And the chart will show you pretty much how you can do that. You can spend most of the first day in restart, and you could actually start the restoration process of the good bacteria, even on that towards the latter end of that first day. But again, as I said, if you've calculated 3, then do 4. And then you can spread out the remineralize and resume over the second and third days. So just for the record, I'll show you option number 4 as well. Let's say you do for 20 days. So for 20-day fast, you divide by 5 and you get 4. So your transition days, number of days should be 4. So you can do to restart all of day 1, restore all of day 2, remineralize all of day 3, and resume all of day 4. So that's just a visual to help you, and I'll include a link to all of these so you can have all of them at your disposal, whether you decide to do a 5-day fast or even a 20-day fast or a 25-day fast. I'll include a link in the description so you can have these at your disposal and use them for future reference. But that's a step-by-step wrap-up of some of the important points of breaking a fast. Very important. Don't rush it. Remember, what you've done is you've taken your body on a long journey. In my case, I took my body on a journey back in time and tapped into levels of healing that most people will never tap into after 25 days of not eating solid food. So the worst thing that you want to do, whether you fasted for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, your body has constricted. The passages through which the food is traveling have constricted. So you don't want to eat hamburger and fries. You don't want to eat anything starchy, anything sticky, anything mucousy, rice or potatoes or meat or pizza. Absolutely not. You don't want to do anything like that because, first of all, the peristalsis has been slowed or stopped. You don't have any digestive juices. You'll have to reintroduce those. The passageways have been constricted, so you can do, and there are horror stories of people who didn't understand what actually happens to the body during the fasting process, and they jumped too quickly into it and ended up getting blocked to such a degree that they had to have surgery. So this is very important that you do correctly and not rush into it. Conceptualize it as a gradual return that has to be done in a certain order in order to reduce the stress on the body. So you're going to start with liquids. You're going to start with liquids that have citric acid. You're going to put a little fat. Actually, I'll include more details in the description as well. And you can get more details in Fast and Grow Young, the book. But you're going to introduce slowly liquids that have an effect to jumpstart the body, liquids that have an effect to put the necessary foundation, lay the necessary foundation of probiotics and good bacteria and restore your gut biome. Then you're going to introduce liquids that have mineralizing effects, nutritive effects, and then you're going to slowly introduce something that doesn't require a lot of digestion, soft salad. And last but not least, very important, the first few meals that you have when you break a fast should not be of a nutritive value. It should be more of an eliminative value. In other words, it should be foods that serve to help evacuate your body. And that's why I suggested stewed spinach. That's a good way for you to get something that will flow through your system. All right, so keep that in mind. If you start drinking juices, for example, you may want to start with prune juice. So to help flush out some of the impacted fecal matter, some of the toxins that have been released during the fast, so that you are eliminating first. Very important. You want to start eliminating first. That will free up energy. That will clear out the system. You don't want to pack too much nutrition and too much bulk into those first few meals. And if you follow those guidelines, you'll be doing well in breaking your fast. Please let me know what challenges or wins you've had in an extended water fast. Love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next video.